So you want to look like Toji Fushiguro from JJK, and I can't blame you. He's been looking absolutely delicious ever since he jumped onto the scene, and the only thing that's better than his actual physique is actually just how badass the character is himself. So that being said, let's break down Toji's physique so we really know and understand our training split. So we're going to start off with the parts of Toji's physique that really take center stage, or the stars of the show when it comes to his physique. So the first thing that really stands out, at least to me, is his shoulder to waist ratio. So Toji has a super tiny waist and super broad shoulders, giving him that upside down triangle look that gives him a really impressive look at first glance. So the second thing that really shows off in Toji's physique is going to be his arms. So his arms and his shoulders are very well proportioned, so it doesn't look like one is overly big than the other. They kind of just more seamlessly morph into each other. Next, we're going to move on to the more supporting aspects of Toji's physiques, things that really aren't the stars of the show, but help give him proportion and just make him look great overall. So the first medium impact thing we can talk about is Toji's chest. So his chest isn't quite as big as his shoulders and his arms are. Don't get me wrong, they're super well developed. And also a thing to note is that his upper chest is also pretty built. So his chest doesn't look just like man boobs, but they look more like a shield of armor look. Next, if you go to the back side, right, you can see that primarily his back is really thick, especially up around his neck. He's also really well built. And when it comes to his lats also help give him a V taper from the back. However, they're not super pronounced, but they're definitely developed. Finally, the low impact part of his physique. Honestly, his upper body doesn't really have any weaknesses, but his legs are lacking a little more than everything else. So we really couldn't see his legs at first because he was always wearing those baggy pants, but when he got reincarnated or resurrected, especially in that fight against that ocean curse spirit, starts with a D, what's his name? Dagma. Tell me what it is in the comments below, I can't remember. We can see that his legs aren't super jacked. However, obviously in that fight, you can see how he moves. There has to be some sort of development, and they're super athletic, so we're also going to train for that as well. So now that we know the strengths and the weaknesses of Toji's physique, now let's actually get into the practical advice, what to actually do to actually achieve this look. So first thing, as I mentioned before, is getting shredded. So Toji is absolutely lean. I gotta say he's around 8-10% at least. And you don't actually need to get this lean to actually have an impressive, awesome looking physique. Getting to 12 to 15% is a great initial goal. For most people, you're gonna have abs, you're gonna have muscle definition, and you're gonna overall look amazing. I also like how Jax Blade said it, that getting lean is also kind of like a genjutsu, and it makes you look bigger than you actually are, because you can see all the muscle definition and your muscles just pop off your frame a little bit more instead of being kind of soft, making you look a lot more impressive early on. So to shred down, what you need to be is in a consistent calorie deficit day after day, and I highly recommend losing anywhere from 0.5% to 1% of your body weight every single week, depending on how lean you are. The more weight that you have to lose, you can go higher up to that 1%. The less that you have to lose, probably more like the 0.5%. Eat a bunch of protein, generally about 0.8 to 1 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Just do that consistently. Eventually you'll get down to that 12 to 15%, and if you want to push it even lower down to that 8 and 10%, that's totally up to you. You can also support the shredding process by either taking 8 to 10k steps every single day to help boost your metabolism a little bit. You can even push that up to 12 to 15 if you're really bold, or you could also hop on a treadmill at an incline of 12 and a speed of 3 and just power walk that way. You're basically burning the same amount of calories as you would just be jogging, but I like this a lot better because there's not a lot of ground and pound on your joints, and we're going to be hitting it really hard in the gym. That's going to stress your joints out a lot already. And this way you can also just put your phone right up on the treadmill and just watch any show you want. After you adapt and get good enough at it, it's basically just watching TV at that point. So now time for the muscle building. So now that we got our diet and our cardio down, that should really help take care of the body fat levels. Now we just need to build up the muscles in order to give that structure and proportion on our frames. I actually forgot to talk about what to do after you hit your leanness goal. So once you're lean enough, the point that you want to be, you need to switch your nutrition plan to actually start gaining muscle, which means you need to start eating more than maintenance since you're trying to put on new muscle tissue. So to do that, I would eat at a rate that puts on about half a pound per week. So that should be around 250 calorie surplus. And then I'd also change your protein to down more towards the 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. After that, you just keep bulking up, slowly gaining weight until you get a little uncomfortable with how much mass you've put on. Then you cut back down to that leanness you were before. You just keep repeating the cycle over and over. So now I'll just put you guys back and right back to the video. What I'm going to recommend is a 4-day split. We really don't want to burn out our central nervous system, especially if you're new to lifting, by doing 5 or 6 days per week. You need to give your body time to recover. So I'm going to recommend a variation on an upper-lower split. So normally 4 days a week, I recommend doing 2 days upper, 2 days lower. But since Toji's legs aren't really a main priority in his physique, we're going to slightly skew it towards the upper body and I'm going to show you what I mean there in a second. Also, feel free to switch things up. If one muscle group isn't growing as much as the other, you can take the exercises that target the legging muscle group and put it towards closer to the beginning of the day so you can hit it harder and get more gains. Or you can also just perform an extra set or two if you're feeling up to it. So let's go over this workout. At the beginning, for warm up, just getting on the treadmill for about 5 to 10 minutes, any kind of cardio machine at all, just to break a light sweat is really going to set us up for success. I also recommend doing at least one what I call get to feel it sets for each of these exercises, just to really get your joints warmed up and moving and really reestablish a good muscle-mind connection with the muscle that you're trying to hit so you can squeeze out the most amount of gains. So let's break down this program, exactly what we're doing, how to do each exercise, so on and so forth. So the split that we're doing is going to be a push, pull, legs, and then a full body. This way we hit each muscle group twice per week, which science has shown to be optimal for growing the most amount of muscle in the long term. So for push, we're going to be starting with cable lateral raises. So these are going to be primarily our shoulder builders that give you that broad look to really help the shoulder waist ratio. And then we're going to follow that up with a machine shoulder press that's going to just overall hit our shoulders a little bit more. If you don't have a shoulder press machine, totally cool. You can use a barbell, you can use a pair of dumbbells. Feel free to substitute any of these exercises out for what you have available or what you just feel better, honestly. So next is going to be an incline dumbbell bench press. I really like dumbbells more because they allow you to get really far down past your chest to get a really big stretch on your pecs. Science has been showing that loading up in the stretch position grows more muscle than anywhere else throughout a rep. Also with the bench angle, choose whatever you like. A lot of people have been pushing 30 degrees lately, but I personally feel 45 degrees is a better way to hit my upper chest. Whatever feels better for you, go around, experiment, see what's best for you. Then we're going to switch over to a pec deck. So a pec deck allows you to get a really nice, big, deep stretch on your pecs. A lot of people see the pec deck as a great way to get a full contraction of your pecs, which technically they're not wrong, but they really overlook all the other benefit that you can get a great big stretch. So that's our shoulders and chest done. Then we're going to move on to our triceps with an overhead cable bar tricep extension. If you want to use a rope here, cool. I would say the most important part is that we're getting our arms overhead to get a full stretch on the long head of our tricep. If you didn't know, the long head of your tricep makes up almost half of your entire arm mass. So making sure that we get that and really target that to its fullest extent is super important to building up big arms in general. And then finally, just burning out with push-ups, 2 or 3 sets, as many reps as possible to really just make sure that we hit our chest, shoulders, and triceps. So that's our push day. Next, we're going to move on to pull, where we really more target our back and our biceps. So we're going to start with a machine row. Toji's back is a little bit more thick than it is wide. So we're going to start doing rowing motions that really help build up those upper back muscles. So when you do these, if you feel up to it, really make sure that you feel like your shoulder blades are being ripped apart and let them spread out as you row out, and really squeeze your shoulder blades together as you row back in. Next, we're going to go to a parallel grip pull down. So most people, not everybody, you might have to experiment with this yourself, but a parallel grip will help you feel your lats a lot better than any other grip. Again, that's all individual. Following that, we're going to do a dumbbell pullover. This is just another way to get a really nice big stretch on our back muscles, primarily our lats. Especially if you sink your hips down, you're going to feel an even better stretch on your lats doing that. Next, cable shrugs, or honestly any type of shrug works. Really make sure that you're trying to imagine taking your shoulders and you're trying to pull them up and in to try to touch your ears. And then we're going to finally work on those biceps that Toji really has really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bicep curl. How we're going to do these is we're going to do 3 total sets. The first 2 are just going to be like a normal curl, nice and strict, go up, 2 or 3 seconds on the way down. And then the third set, we're going to do what's called a cheat curl. So now that your biceps should be pretty fatigued, what you're going to do is now you're going to help cheat the weight up, because you should be a little too exhausted to get the weight up, and then slowly go down, down, down for 3 to 5 seconds, really milking that lowering, or what we call eccentric phase, because that's where a lot of the muscle growth happens as well. And that also applies to all the other exercises that we're talking about here. Now, if you have time to do a rest day here, I recommend taking a rest before you do legs, but if you don't have time for that, totally cool. But moving on to legs, you can see we don't have as many exercises here because they're not as high as a priority. So the first exercise we're going to do is we're going to be working on squats If you feel front squats are better or back squats, that's totally up to you. Next, we're gonna be working on hamstring curls just to give a little bit balance to the back of our legs, since squats tend to be more quad or the front of the leg focused. And then we're gonna switch to ATG split squats. So these are really, really good for your knee and really, really good for your vastus medialis, which is that teardrop muscle that kind of sticks out of shorts. They're also really good for strengthening your knee in a really bent, deep position, and it's honestly helped me a lot with my knee pain and just overall my athleticism. And we all know how athletic Toji is, so these just make sense there. And then finally, of course, we can't skip calves. When you do these, find some sort of straight leg variation that you like, whether doing that on a leg press machine, Smith machine, whatever works for you. Just make sure that you go super slow, controlled, that you're not bouncing, and try to feel, again, a very, very deep stretch. Seeing a pattern here? And then since legs can kill a lot of people, especially your central nervous system, since you're using relatively big loads compared to your upper body, I'd recommend taking a rest day here again if you can. And then we're gonna go to full body. We're hitting all our big muscle groups once just to make sure they get another hit or another stimulus to grow throughout the week. So we're gonna start off while we're fresh. We're doing RDLs. So RDLs can be pretty fatiguing. That's why we're doing them first while we're fresh. These are really gonna hit our glutes and our hamstrings. Then we're gonna superset lateral raises with reverse pec decks. Grab a set of dumbbells, do your lateral raises, sweep up and out, and then bring them back down slowly. Don't let gravity bring them down. Slowly make sure you're letting them down. Don't let them just fall down. And then a reverse pec deck. A lot of people, when they do shoulders, they only focus on the front delt and the side delt, but they don't focus on the rear delt, which starts lacking, and it kind of gives you a forward slumped posture look instead of that full complete shoulder look that Toji has. Then we're gonna move on to chin-ups. If you're not strong enough to do these with your body weight, you can do reverse grip pull downs, or you can do them assisted. These are gonna be great for hitting basically your entire back and giving a little bit more bicep volume as well, since Toji biceps are absolutely nuts. And then we're gonna move to a flat dumbbell bench. We did incline before, so now we're gonna switch it up and just do flat. Again, dumbbells are great for the range of motion, but if you feel a barbell is better for your chest and you feel more activation, you get more sore, feel free to swap that out. Even a machine press can work really, really well here too. And then finally, just a single arm dumbbell row really help to focus on that back thickness again. And then that leaves us one more rest day, and then you just run that through. So as you run through this, make sure that you're trying to get stronger each and every week. So for example, if we're doing the squats, we have a rep range of 6 to 8 reps. What you're gonna do is choose a weight that puts you in that 6 to 8 rep range, while leaving 1 or 2 reps in the tank so you don't get hurt. So let's say that you start with 100 pounds, for example, and you can get 7 reps. That puts you into 6 to 8. That's perfect. Then next week, you try them again. You try the 100 pounds, and now you get 8 reps this time. Awesome, still in 6 to 8. Third week, you get 9. So now that we're at 9 reps, what you're gonna do is like, okay, we're out of the rep range. What we're gonna do is you're gonna add more weight. That's gonna bring you the total amount of reps that you can do down, back into hopefully that 6 to 8 range again. And then you're just gonna keep doing that over and over and over until eventually you just keep building yourself up, up, and up. So that's what I would recommend to do to get a Toji level physique. If you really enjoyed that, or at least found it entertaining, or if you learned something, consider liking and subscribing. We do bodybuilding, lifting, muscle gain, anything anime. And eventually when I say something stupid, you could always cancel me and leave. And if you want more of this stuff, I did a gravity chamber workout, the one that Goku did on his way to Namek, and I modified it to make it more muscle growth centered for beginners, intermediate, and advanced lifters. So go ahead, give that a watch if you're interested. And other than that, that's all I got. I'll see you next time. Peace.